Hi guys, well, it's October 30th and Halloween is tomorrow. Please forgive the mess in my back seat. And one of my friends got me a thing for my phone and I don't know where it is. I have to find it to set my phone down so I can do this vlog. So this is gonna be a little bit of a departure from my usual intense animal rights serious posts. I'm going to be going to a house that I lived in when I grew up in Florida and then my family came back to Michigan when I was, and excuse me, I have gum in my mouth, when I was 15 and a half, and I lived in this house. So my dad got a job in Florida. I'll try not to ramble too long, I'll get to the point. My dad got a job in Michigan, transferred from Florida to Michigan, and he had to move back pretty fast. So we ended up renting a house for a short period of time, but it was this farmhouse that was about 15 minutes from the city, from town. It was out on a dirt road. It was a 200-year-old farmhouse that was on like 100 acres of land. Yes, the house was 200 years old, but they had remodeled it on the outside, had redone it. And so anyway, he thought that, my dad thought, well, we'll rent this house while we're building a house until we can find, somewhere to live. So he rented this house and he thought that I would like it at that time because I was really into horses. And he thought, oh, I could, they allowed horses. So blah, 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 blah. So we moved into this house and it quickly became, this is a true story. I actually did an essay on this when I was in college. Got a really good grade and I had to do like a public speech on it about my experience of living in what my family members called Amityville, like the real life Amityville horror. This house was so haunted that I can't even begin to go into it. I actually thought about writing. First of all, you like my blouse? Ooh, it's like vampire Elvira. And if you haven't checked out my Instagram, The Thin Veil, I have a goth Instagram. I'm going off, I digress. So a few months after moving into this house, we started getting all kinds of things that would happen. We would hear footsteps going up and down the stairs. And then a really, really weird thing that happened one time, I came home from school. Okay, so all the bedrooms were on the upstairs part of the house. And I would go into this one bed. My mom had a guest bedroom, and I would go into the guest bedroom and I would lay on my bed and like do my homework and get it over with. I was one of those kids. And I would do it in the afternoon and the sun would come in the window and the bed would be warm. So I would get my cat and we would lay on the bed and we would just like lay in the sun and I would work on my homework. It was pretty peaceful for a little while. And one of the first big things that happened was I came home that day and went to, sit on the bed and do my homework with my cat. And all of a sudden I heard from the bedroom right next door, I heard squeak, 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 like really, really loudly, very clearly, which sounded unmistakably like when you jump up and down on a mattress, like when children are playing on a bed, jumping up and down. And it was like squeak, squeak. It was super, super indistinguishable, totally loud. That's exactly what it was. And I suddenly felt my heart just like sink with like panic and fear. And I got up, like bolted straight up because I knew that I was alone and it was coming from my parents' bedroom, which was adjacent to the room. And I walked around the corner and walked to my parents' bedroom and their door was open. And I just remember standing in the doorway and all of a sudden this rush, like a gush of like ice cold air went right through my body and took my breath away. A true story. And I looked in their bedroom and there was just nothing there. Their bed was just empty. There was nothing there. And I was like shaking all over. And that was just one of many, 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 many incidents. And my parents ended up living there for 2 years. And as we lived there longer and longer, the incidents got more and more intense and stronger and stronger. One night I was sleeping in my bedroom. My cat slept with me, and all of a sudden my cat, her name was Joey, her name was Josephine, but we called her Joey, and all of a sudden my cat like let out a scream, and she jumped off of me and like took off running. And I sat straight up in bed. It was like 2, 3 in the morning, looked at my window, and there was a man standing in front of my window. He was completely see-through. You could see the window and everything behind him, and he was staring at me. And I like just, my fight or flight just kicked in. Everything that I'm telling you is completely true. And if you don't believe it, there's no way for me to convince you, but I am going to show you the house. I'm going to walk around and show this house to you. We literally called it Amityville. So that night I ran out of my room and ran down the hall to my parents' room, and I told them, and my parents were kind of like scoffed it off. They were like, "Oh, you had a bad dream." No, I did not have a bad dream. And then it started to get more and more aggressive. And I had to end up living there for 2 years of terror. And it got more aggressive to the point where my dad got like pushed down the stairs. My dad, you know, my big grounded rock father who is like, doesn't believe in that crap. He was totally a realist, an engineer. He was like, no, my dad just was not into that stuff. But my dad one morning was standing at the top of the stairs, and all of a sudden he like just fell down the stairs. And in the old farmhouses, I don't know if you guys know, but they're super steep. They're like really steep, the stairs. And my dad just like fell down the stairs, and then he was okay. He was like bruised, but he said it was the weirdest thing. He said it felt like somebody pushed me. And then a few months later, I had the same thing happen to me, and like somebody pushed me down the stairs. I could go on and on. My sister and I were up one night late, kind of laughing and talking in the kitchen. And we were just like, because my sister had spent the night, and she's older than me and lived in a different town, but she came for the weekend. And we were laughing and talking. Then all of a sudden the lights in the kitchen flashed on and off. And then my sister's blouse flew up, and she goes, ah! She like screamed. And I said, oh my God, it's George. So we ended up naming this entity George. We ended up calling him George. And so after we moved out, I can like tell you anything else you want to know. I could write a novel about it, literally. I'll put more details in the comment section. So after we moved out, somebody else that we knew moved in, and I was like, the place is haunted. They were a young family, and they had to rent, and we were actually friends with them, like we knew. And I was like, the place is haunted. I warn you. And they had a small child, a little boy, and she told me a few months after living there that their little boy would not sleep in the room that was my bedroom, that used to be my bedroom. They had set up his little room, and it was my bedroom. And they said, why won't you sleep in there? And he said, because I saw a man with glowing red eyes. So the incidents were so to the level of like poltergeist that we thought it was a ghost or maybe a family. Their spiritual residue was there. But looking back on it, we had talked about it with many people who had experienced things in that house. And I actually believe it was like legions of demons or entities. It was beyond like just one person or a haunting. It was literally something beyond comprehension. So, I hope that you enjoy this, and I'll show you the house. It is approximately 200 years old. It's out on a country road. And ironically, it is I would say about 2 driving blocks from a cemetery where there are gravestones that are from the 1700s, like late 1700s. There's a cemetery that's so close to it. I'll tell you one more story. So my boyfriend and I, when I was living there, my boyfriend and I got in an argument, got in a fight, and it was at night, and he took off in his pickup truck. He's like, I'm the fuck out of here, blah, blah, blah. He took off in his pickup truck and skidded out of our driveway because we got in this big argument. And about 5 minutes later, he pulled back in the driveway. I was like, what are you doing? And he was all out of breath and he was white, and he said, you're not gonna believe it. I'm gonna swear a little bit in this, okay? Because I'm gonna tell you what he said verbatim, because it's like embedded in my head forever. I was between 15 and a half to 17 when I lived there, and I'm much older now, but I'll remember it forever. So, yeah, anyway, excuse me. So what happened was he had like taken off, we got in a fight, and he took off out of the driveway like a bat out of hell. And he just drove, literally, he got like one block. And he said that all of a sudden he saw this man dressed up like he was like, looked Amish. And the man kind of like went out right in front of his headlights in the middle of the road. So my boyfriend skidded on his brakes because he thought he was going to hit this man. And the man stood there in his headlights and stared at him. And then the man took off across the road and literally walked through a barbed wire fence. Because out in the country with all these cornfields, and there were barbed wire fences everywhere, and the man took off, and my boyfriend saw him walk through a barbed wire fence like vapor. He turned into vapor. This was like close to our house. So he came back and he was like, I saw a fucking ghost. And he's like, it looked like a human. It looked just like you and I. It looked three-dimensional. It was a man. I saw his eyes. I saw his face. I saw what he was wearing. And he just turned into vapor. He vanished. And so later we had talked to people who had lived there for generations. Like there was an older couple across the road, and they were in their 70s, and they had lived there for like decades. And they said, well, this whole road is haunted. This whole road, like we all have haunted houses. I'm like, oh, thanks for telling us before our family moved in. So I hope that you enjoy this. True story, 100% true. I was actually so traumatized by the experience of living there as a teenager that like I would never live in another farmhouse. Farmhouses freak me out. They scare me. There's just something about them that creeps me out, and the experience just totally traumatized me, but it also made me very spiritual too, because I know, for a fact that we're not alone. And that's why I named my Instagram The Thin Veil, because I believe there's a very thin veil between the living and the dead. And you'd have to, if you don't believe it, you'd have to experience it to believe it, and you will one day. So enjoy my vlog with a tour of this house. I can't tell you where it is for privacy reasons. And also I believe there's a family living there now, and I pray for them. But it is in rural southeastern Michigan. So yeah, happy Halloween, guys. Okay, guys, well, here we go. This is the cemetery, old cemetery that was only about 2 to 3 blocks from the old farmhouse that I lived in from 15 to 17 in high school. And this cemetery, I'm not going to say the specific name of the cemetery or the address of our house for privacy reasons. And someone we know lives in the house, so I don't want to invade their privacy. But this cemetery is one of the oldest cemeteries. It's located near Pinckney, Michigan. So if you want to do your own research, go ahead. Some of the tombstones date back to the late 1700s. It's pretty creepy. When I was living in the farmhouse, my older sister and I one night did a little kind of like ghost adventures thing where we brought cameras and tried to capture orbs and stuff in this cemetery. So it was really creepy. Oh my goodness. So driving on the dirt road to the house, see, it's exactly as I described it. Oh my God. I actually had somebody else do that. Fence in front of it was not there when I lived there. The house has gotten a little bit run down from when I lived there over a decade, like several years ago, many years ago. But this is it. This is the house. 2 years of torment. That redwood deck wasn't there either when my mom had it. It was kind of a dollhouse. It was really cute. It's gotten kind of run down a little bit, but It was really cute on the outside. Now this house is almost 200 years old, and it was like renovated on the outside with siding. And there's the cornfield behind the house where we saw a lot of paranormal stuff there too. Anyway, I had somebody else do the footage of the house because I don't even want to go near it. I have not seen this house in person in years because I was so traumatized by it and the experiences we had in it. The old barn. There was a cornfield that was right behind the house, and I won't even get into, my nieces were really young, two of my nieces, and they were playing out here and they saw things, and it just, oh God, it brings back really, really creepy memories. So this barn has actually been renovated. When we lived there, it was an old, dilapidated barn. And my dad actually had like a little tool shop in there, and he did stuff on the side, like with tools, with tool and die. So he was, wow. This is bringing back some memories. You see all the graffiti? They had some vandalism, and there was this old buggy that was there when we lived there too, and it was like from the 1700s, like from a horse and buggy. My dad actually had, like, in this part of the barn, it's like on the lower level, my dad had a workshop. So this is the road where my boyfriend saw the man. This is literally the road where my boyfriend was driving at night. In my vlog, I was talking about it earlier. We had gotten in a fight at night, and he drove down the road to like leave, and he came back like 5 minutes later, and he said that he squealed on his brakes because he saw an Amish man standing in front of his truck in the headlights, and he thought he was going to hit him because he said he was just real, like totally real, like a person, three-dimensional. And the man looked at him in his headlights and then proceeded to walk across the road into this cornfield, and he vanished into vapor. He walked through a fence. My boyfriend saw him walk through a fence. He was dressed like an Amish man. He said he was dressed like Amish from head to toe. He said he was just as real as you could see him. He was completely three-dimensional. And oh my God. Just this whole area makes my hair stand up. And I'm serious, like I said, I haven't actually physically been out here in so many years because I was so terrified about everything that happened when we lived here. And it's really creepy. I'm actually making this vlog on the 27th, which is my dad's birthday. Really, really strange that I got this footage and stuff today, and I'm making this vlog on my dad's birthday. But at the time, wow. I hope you enjoyed this footage. So I hope that you enjoyed the vlog of the farmhouse, Amityville. And I wish I could tell you where it is. It would seriously, if I told people where it was, it'd be getting people just driving by, and it's really crazy. I mean, I could tell you guys where it is, but for privacy reasons, and I don't know, I'm just not going to tell you the address. But I can tell you, or maybe I will tell you a little bit about the cemetery close to it. So yeah, that was the tour of the scary old farmhouse. And if you haven't subbed to Kind and Fancy Jenah, I would love for you to be my friend and my follower. Not my follower, I don't like follower. Be one of my friends. So take care, guys. Bye. So follow me as we get out into the porch. So that was my little vlog that I did over a period of a couple days, obviously, with the change of clothes. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed my haunted house story. If you'd like to hear more about it, just ask me in the comments. I have 2 years worth of experiences with it. I hope you guys have a safe and happy and joyous Halloween. If you celebrate Halloween, if you don't, you know. See you guys next week or whenever. Bye.